Ever get that itch? You know, that feeling you just need to get out and see something new, something, well, beautiful.
Absolutely, that pull towards exploration.
Exactly. And today, we're scratching that itch with a deep dive into a really spectacular place, Gorge Creek Falls. It's right in North Cascades National Park.
Oh, North Cascades. Yeah, for anyone wanting that raw Pacific Northwest beauty, that's the spot. It's just incredible.
It really is. What comes to mind for you?
Well, you've got those super dramatic, jagged peaks, right? And valleys carved by glaciers, these little pockets of rainforest, huge old-growth trees. Oh, and the lakes. Those turquoise lakes are something else.
Unforgettable. It really is an explorer's paradise.
Definitely.
And while the whole park is massive, we're going to zoom in today on one spot that's pretty easy to get to, but still totally captivating: Gorge Creek Falls.
Good choice. It's a highlight for sure.
So our mission here is pretty simple, really. We want to give everyone a solid, quick overview. What's its history? What makes it cool? Any interesting facts for people thinking about visiting, you know, wanting to learn more and explore?
Spot on, and we've pulled info from the National Park Service, the Washington Trails Association, places like that. Good, solid sources to get the real picture of Gorge Creek Falls.
Great, so let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so someone's driving that beautiful North Cascades Highway, State Route 20. Where exactly do they need to keep an eye out for Gorge Creek Falls?
Right, you'll want to look for milepost 123.4. It's right there, off the highway, inside the park boundaries.
Mile 123.4. Got it. And you said easy access. That's always a plus.
It really is. That's one of the big appeals. You don't need some, like, epic hike to see this one.
So how close can you actually get? Is there a viewpoint?
Yeah, there's a dedicated pedestrian walkway. It takes you almost right up to the base of the falls. Fantastic view, minimal effort.
Nice. Park the car and you're practically there.
Pretty much. And something really important, the first bit of the interpretive trail there, about the first 0.3 miles, it's paved, so it's wheelchair accessible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Making it available for more people.
Exactly. It opens it up quite a bit.
What about the practical stuff? Parking? Facilities?
You've got it pretty well set up. There's parking for cars, sure, but also designated spots for bigger rigs like buses and RVs.
Okay, good to know.
And you've got your scenic viewpoint, perfect for photos. Plus, the necessary things like vault toilets. Those are the non-flushing kind you find in parks and trash cans, you know, to keep the place clean.
Sounds like they've thought it through for visitors. Okay, let's talk about the main event, the waterfall. What makes Gorge Creek Falls stand out?
Well, first off, it's the height. It's a 242-foot cascade straight down the mountainside. That's pretty impressive visually.
242 feet. Wow. That's significant. Where does all that water actually go?
That's the interesting part. It plunges down into Gorge Lake. Then it gets channeled through the Gorge Powerhouse, and eventually it merges with the Skagit River.
Ah, so it's connected to the whole Skagit hydro system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just a pretty sight. It's part of this larger water system and, well, power generation, too.
Interesting. Does it flow all year, or is it seasonal?
It flows year-round, which is great. You can always see something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you want the really dramatic, powerful show, spring and early summer are your best bet. That's when all the snow melt from up high comes rushing down.
Right. Makes sense. More water, bigger falls. Good tip for planning a visit.
Definitely something to keep in mind if you want that peak experience.
So we get that great view from the walkway. Is there any other way to see the falls or the area, maybe from a different angle?
Yes, absolutely. There's the Gorge Lake Overlook Trail. It's short, just over half a mile, round trip. It's an interpretive loop.
Interpretive, meaning there are signs and stuff.
Yeah, explaining things along the way. And it gives you these really expansive views of Gorge Lake and also the Gorge Dam itself. It broadens the perspective.
Half-a-mile loop, great views. Sounds perfect. Is it a tough walk? Steep?
Not really.
Yeah.
Like we said, that first bit is paved, totally flat and accessible. If you do the whole loop, the rest is gravel, but it's well maintained. They say it's never steep.
Okay.
Minimal elevation gain, maybe 70 feet total. So yeah, pretty easy for most people. Great for families, folks just wanting a nice stroll.
And what kind of things do you see on that trail besides the lake and dam view?
Well, the trail itself is kind of cool. It winds around this big granite knob.
A granite knob.
Yeah, basically a big lump of bedrock left behind after the last ice age when the glaciers retreated. It's a pretty neat geological feature.
Wow. Walking on history.
Kinda, yeah. And what's really interesting is the Skagit River used to flow right through there around the south side of that knob before the dam created the lake.
So you're walking where a river used to be, in a way.
Exactly. And along the trail, you also get views of another waterfall described as a 100-foot-plus cataract dropping through this narrow rocky channel.
Another waterfall. Bonus.
Right. And then closer up, you see all the typical Pacific Northwest stuff. Carpets of moss, ferns. It's really lush.
Green and vibrant.
Totally. And you notice how the plants change depending on whether you're on the sunny side or the shady side of that granite knob. Plus, those interpretive signs I mentioned, they pop up along the trail, giving you little tidbits about the nature and the history.
So it's a real mix of scenery and learning. Let's talk more about that human history bit, the Gorge Dam. What's the story there?
Okay, so the main Gorge Dam, the big one you see, that was finished in 1961. It's a really key part of Seattle City Light's hydroelectric system.
Powering Seattle.
A good chunk of it, yeah. It's one of several dams on the Skagit that harness the river's power. And creating those dams, that also formed the Ross Lake National Recreation Area. So big engineering, big impact.
Right. It's a major piece of infrastructure. Was that the first time they tried to use the water power around Gorge Creek, though?
Actually, no. There was a smaller dam, a diversion dam, built specifically on Gorge Creek itself much earlier. That one was completed way back in 1924.
1924, wow.
Yeah, it was part of the sort of initial phase of developing the Skagit for hydropower, which Seattle City Light kicked off around 1918. So people have been tapping into that river's energy for over a century now.
That's a long history of human impact. What about even before the dams? Was the river important?
Oh, definitely. The Skagit River was like a natural highway, an early route for Native Americans and later explorers trying to get into these mountains.
But probably not an easy highway.
No, not at all. It could be really wild, unpredictable. Definitely hindered travel too. Getting around this area became much easier, relatively speaking, when the North Cascades Highway was finally completed.
That's Highway 20 again.
Right. That was finished in 1972. It crosses Rainy Pass and Washington Pass, finally opening up this whole region with a modern road. Before that, it was pretty remote.
Fascinating how access changes everything. Okay, so visitors are at Gorge Creek Falls. They've seen the main cascade, maybe walked the Overlook Trail. Anything else right nearby worth checking out?
Yeah, there is. For waterfall fans, there's another little treat just across the highway.
Across Highway 20. Gotta be careful there.
Absolutely. Be super cautious crossing. But there is a sidewalk that leads onto a bridge. And this bridge spans a side chasm, like a little canyon.
And from the bridge.
You get a great view of another waterfall. This one's multi-tiered, tumbling down through the rocks. It's really quite lovely, and again, super easy to get to once you're safely across the road.
Another easy win for waterfall lovers. What about other stuff to do in the general area if people want to make a day or more of it?
Oh, there's tons here in the North Cascades, so scenic driving on Highway 20 itself is amazing. Hiking, obviously, is huge here.
Any specific recommendations nearby?
Well, there are other state parks around, like Rizar State Park, Rockport State Park, and lakes like Baker Lake and Lake Shannon offer boating, fishing, more trails. Also, the Mountain Loop Scenic Byway isn't too far, another gorgeous drive with access to wilderness and hiking.
Lots of options to explore the wider region.
For sure. Plenty to fill a trip.
What if someone prefers like a guided experience? Are there tours that include Gorge Creek Falls?
Yes, there are. Companies like Skagit Guided Adventures, they offer day tours focusing on North Cascades National Park.
And they stop at the falls.
Often, yeah. Gorge Creek Falls is usually on the itinerary. It's a great way to learn more from a guide about the park's history, the geology, the plants and animals. Get that deeper context.
That could be a really good option for some folks.
Okay, let's nail down the practical stuff for visiting Gorge Creek Falls itself. Any fees? Parking passes needed?
Good question. Based on everything we've seen, no. There doesn't seem to be any specific parking fee or entry fee just for the Gorge Lake Overlook or the Falls viewing area.
That's great. Makes it super accessible. It really does. Low barrier to entry for such a nice spot.
What other practical advice should visitors keep in mind?
Okay, standard mountain advice. Always check the weather forecast before you go. Conditions can change fast up there.
Always smart.
And be aware that services inside the park itself are pretty limited. The nearest town with like gas, food, full services is Marble Mount. So maybe stock up before you head deep into the park.
Good heads up. Fill the tank. Grab snacks.
Exactly. Oh, and one really important environmental thing. Don't move firewood.
The invasive species issue.
Precisely. Moving firewood can spread insects and diseases that devastate forests. If you're planning a campfire somewhere it's allowed, always buy your firewood locally, near where you'll burn it. Protect the park.
Crucial tip. Thanks for that. Okay, so let's wrap this up. To summarize our deep dive on Gorge Creek Falls, what are the main takeaways?
I'd say Gorge Creek Falls is this really fantastic combination of impressive natural beauty and surprising accessibility in North Cascades. You've got the big 242-foot waterfall, super easy to view.
Right off the highway.
Pretty much. Then there's that short, easy Gorge Lake Overlook trail. Great views, a little geology, a little history with the dam.
And that connection to the hydroelectric power adds another layer.
Exactly. It shows that interplay between, harnessing nature and preserving it. It's a compelling spot.
It definitely sounds like a worthwhile stop, easy to fit into a North Cascades trip, offering a lot for relatively little effort.
It's a good way to put it.
So for everyone listening, maybe now thinking about checking out Gorge Creek Falls, here's something to maybe mull over as you stand there.
Okay.
When you see that water rushing down, and you think about the Gorge Dam and the power it creates from the Skagit River, consider this. What is the right balance? How do we balance using these amazing natural resources we need with the absolute importance of preserving these wild, incredible places for the future for everyone else to explore and learn from, just like we are?
That's a deep one. A really important question, especially in places as special as the North Cascades.
Something to think about. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.